G'day, this is Bludgeon with another look at Ark Nova Digital. One of the great things about digital board games, of course, is the ability to play with other people online. But another nice thing is it's a way to play by yourself easily against the AI. And the good versions of digital board games include multiple modes where you can do this. And so I thought in this video today, I would just kind of take you through the different modes that are available to play Ark Nova Digital, both solo as well as how the online mode works. So let's just take a quick look. Let's start with local play. So you can play versus the AI. Let's start with that and just take a look at the options. I'm going to go with new game here just to show you how the setup works. So you can choose how many AI players you want to play against. Obviously, you need to choose at least one, but you can play with up to 3 for a total of a 4-player game. You get to choose the difficulty of the AI, easy, medium, hard, unfair, expert, and legendary. I sort of feel like unfair should be the hardest version, but anyway, you can see what's nice about this too is it kind of tells you actually what it means, right? So there's easy, medium, and hard. It doesn't explain how that works, but theoretically they make better decisions. Unfair, it tells you what that means. All the opponents start with 25 appeal, expert 25 appeal, and a randomly upgraded action, and legendary 25 appeal, and all of their actions upgraded. I mean, that does sound unfair to me. Okay, so you can choose your difficulty and a lot of options there, which is cool. And then you have the option of map mode. Again, lots of options. So I think this is just, it doesn't tell you, unfortunately, what exactly the differences are between these maps, but there's a draft mode. I'm not sure how good the AI will be at drafting. Mirrored, everybody gets the same random advanced map, and freeform, choose any map you want. So again, pretty nice selection of options there between the number of AI opponents, the difficulty, and the map selection. There's this peaceful mode option here as well, which says peaceful mode replaces animal cards with attack abilities like Venom, Constriction, Hypnosis, and Pilfer with their solo variants. So those are abilities that in the game will affect your opponent's cards in some way. It'll kind of mess with your opponents. But in the solo mode of the game, which we'll look at in a moment, you don't have any opponents. And so those abilities do something different. And if you want, you can turn that mode on even when you do have opponents. Some people might prefer to have a less kind of attack each other sort of a game. Not that there's a lot of that, but if you don't want any, you do have the option of peaceful mode there. So that's how that works. I'll create the game just to show you, how that works, but I'm not going to play through it. Okay, so here we are. The game starts, and that's how it looks. Okay, let's get out of here. And you have the option to save the game as well. So, you can play a round or two and come back into it, which is nice. So that's the versus AI mode. There is a pass and play mode. So this is not a solo mode, right? This is for playing against someone in the same room, which is a nice feature to have. I'm not sure how many people use it, but it's cool that it's there. It's not present in all board games. I'm not sure it exists in Direwolf Digital's own games, but they have included it for Ark Nova, which is cool. And so again, you can choose, you can have multiple players. So if you have a few friends over and you want to kind of take turns, people wandering in and out of the room to take their turns, you do have that option. You can also fill it with AI, just have one other player, or you can just, mix and match as you see fit, only have players if you want. You have the same difficulty options for the AI. Obviously, that won't matter if you're playing against people. And the same map options and the same peaceful mode options. So yeah, pass and play basically just means I sit at the computer, I take my turn. When I'm done, I get up, walk away, someone else sits down, they take their turn. So multiple people playing on the same computer. Okay, let's take a look at the solo play mode. I have a feeling this, I'm not sure, it might be the most popular way to play it by yourself rather than playing against AI opponents. I don't really know, but let's take a look at how it works. So in solo mode, it's a race against the clock to score at least 100 victory points. Set the difficulty to tune your experience by changing your zoo's starting appeal. So you're not going to be playing against any opponents. You're just playing against a timer, essentially. And you can choose how much appeal you want to start with, normal, hard, or impossible. And then you get to choose the map between beginner, intermediate, and advanced standard, where you get to choose between 2 possible ones. So let's just do that one for now, just to see how that looks. All right, so we get to choose. We get to look at the maps and pick whichever one we want, and they explain kind of how it works. All right, let's choose this park restaurant. Sounds fun. Again, I'm not going to play through the game here right now. I'm just going to show you how the mode kind of works. All right, choose a starting hand. Whatever. Okay, and so the game is already on here. So here is the turn counter. So the way this mode works is every turn that I take, this little thing is going to advance, and the break is going to happen when I reach the end. But every subsequent round, I suppose, has fewer turns that I can take. When it reaches the end hourglass timer here, the game is over. And, you know, if you've reached 100 victory points, you win. Otherwise, you lose. So I'll play through a couple of turns here just so you can see how that works. All right, so let's see. I'll just choose cards. I'm just gonna be playing kind of randomly here, just to show you how this thing works there. So you can see that I took my turn, the thing advanced. That's it. It's time for my next action already. So I don't even have to click end turn. Okay, let's do another one. I'll grab the hand thing here. My research goes up, or no, this is not research. This is reputation, I think. Okay, now I do have an end turn button, I guess because I would have the option to actually undo. Whereas last time when I was drawing cards, I couldn't undo that because I've already seen what the card is. All right, so I do have the option of ending turn or undoing there. I'll just build something for fun. Where am I here? Okay, whatever. I'm just putting things down randomly. Okay, so I could undo it. I can undo turn. I'm not sure what the difference is between undo turn and just undo. In this case, I see. Okay, so it undoes just the selection there. So I can do it kind of in steps, I guess. All right. So we'll just do that. Fine. End turn. All right, so you can see that going along, and that's it. When it reaches the end here, we're going to hit a break. We'll go to the next one, and so on and so forth. So it's just like a timed mode, and it's kind of nice in the sense that you don't have to like try to keep track of what your AI opponents are up to with their various maps. You know, probably if you're playing solo mode against AI, you're just going to be focusing on yourself anyway, I think. So this mode seems like it probably makes sense, but who knows? Anyway, you have that option, which is nice. So that's the solo mode. And again, you can save it, come back to it later if you want. Okay, now the other 2 modes we're going to get to here, I think are where kind of part of the excitement comes in with these sorts of digital board games. So we've got challenges here. So challenges says, put your skills to the test in a series of games with unique rules and starting conditions in place of final scoring cards. Completing the normal version of each challenge will unlock a harder variant to play. This is something that Direwolf includes in their other games like Dune Imperium or Clank, where this is one of the advantages of a digital board game is you can tweak the rules, you can change how things work and see how fun it is. And so these different challenges will tweak the rules or give you bonuses for doing different things than normal. And you're just going to see if you can pull it off. So for example, this City Zoo challenge says the bonus for filling up your map is 7 conservation points rather than 7 appeal. Okay, and if you succeed in doing that, then you'll unlock a harder version of this same challenge. Now, I haven't done any of these, so I can't actually show you what the harder version would be. Probably it changes the map or something would be my guess. Research mission, you start with Science Museum. in your zoo. And unfortunately, like, it doesn't show you what a science museum is here. I think it really should. I believe this is the art for it. It'd be nice if they just showed you what the card was. So there are a few of them where you start with a particular card or whatever in your zoo. So you start with archaeologist, but no cards in hand. At the end of each break, for each of your workers beyond the first, draw a random animal card from the discard pile. So they just kind of mess with the rules, and it's a fun way to, you know, change things up and play the game a little bit of a different way. Gives you some goals to complete. And again, there's the harder version of each of these challenges once you complete a given one. So if I beat this archaeological dig, I'll unlock the harder version of archaeological dig. And the nice thing is they're not locked. Like, you don't have to do them in order. You can take a look at all of them and see which one, you know, you feel like doing. And there you go. So we'll take a look at one more here just for fun. What's this one? Diversity research. You start with diversity researcher in your zoo. At the end of the game, you gain 3 conservation points. I think that's what those are called. If all your rock and water spaces are covered. All right. So that's the challenges. So how many are there here? Let's see. Whoa. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So 13 challenges plus the hard mode of each of them. So 26 challenges to do there in the challenge modes. Okay, the next one, the special exhibit. This is similar to the challenges in a way, in the sense that it's going to change the rules and the scoring a little bit. So rules modifier, large bird aviary. Each player builds a large bird aviary at the start of their first turn, paying its cost. And scoring modifiers, strategy director, +1 for each X token gained, acquisition specialist, +2 for each card you snapped. Okay, so the way this works is you're playing against the AI. You're not playing against other players. But your score that you get, which is going to be your actual score in the game, and then modified by these scoring modifiers, that is going to be compared on a leaderboard against other players who have also done the special exhibit. So this is a sort of competitive PvE mode. You're playing against the AI. You can play it at your own pace, at your own time. You know, no pressure. But your score is compared against other players. So it's kind of a fun competitive mode where you're not having to actually play against other players in real time. And the way this works is you have a few days. Every few days, they'll change what the exhibit is. So it'll change what the rules modifier and the scoring modifier is. Within that 3 days, I think it's 3 days, you have 3 attempts at doing the what do they call it? The special exhibit. And your highest score among those 3 attempts is what's going to get posted on the leaderboard. So if you only do it once, then that'll be your score. If you do it 3 times, then the best of those 3 scores will be what goes up on the leaderboard. So let's take a look at the rules here. Every 3 days, a new special exhibit begins with unique rules and scoring modifiers. The same modifiers apply to all players. Players earn leaderboard points equal to the sum of their victory points and the scoring modifiers of the current special exhibit game. The highest score of your first 3 attempts contributes to your leaderboard placement for a special exhibit. Your best score will also contribute to the season leaderboard. Compete all season to earn achievement badges. Okay, so here are the leaderboards. So yeah, so here's how it works. Right now we're sorting by game score. What that means is the score people made on this current special exhibit, the one for this 3 days. That's what we're sorting by here. So currently Hansol here has done the best in this current special exhibit. And you can go on down the line. And then the season score is just the total of all of your game scores that you've done so far this season. And then I think at the end of this season, you'll get a medal based on, you know, your placement for the season. I believe that's how that works. So the first season hasn't finished yet, so nobody has any medals. Let's sort by season score just to see how that looks. All right, so that's how it is. I think it's a very cool mode to have. They have the exact same thing, like I said, in Dune Imperium. and in Clank. And, you know, it's another way to be competitive. And I don't think there's any other sort of ranked mode that exists. So if you want to kind of be competitive in Ark Nova Digital, that's kind of the only way that there is, other than, you know, just bragging rights of playing against other players online. The downside to it that I noticed in the Dune Imperium version is just that, you know, it resets every few days, and you kind of have to play 3 attempts if you're trying to be competitive, right? Because you want to get your highest score you can. So if you try 3 times, you're going to, on average, do better than if you just do it once each time. So there's a certain amount of like pressure to kind of play. And if you're also playing the other modes, if you're also playing online, it can start to get a bit much, and you sort of feel a kind of a pressure to log in and play your exhibit or whatever. And if you happen to miss one, then you're kind of screwed for the leaderboards for the season. So something to keep in mind. So for me, I ended up kind of dipping out of the Dune Imperium version of this after a few weeks. I really liked it, but having to kind of constantly do it on top of wanting to play against other players online just made it a little bit too much for me. But, you know, it's a nice option for people who are into it. Okay, so that's the special exhibit, and that's everything from the local play options here. So let's take a look at what it looks like if you want to play a game online. So online play, and it uses a lobby system. So there's a global chat here. People can, you know, you know, mention that they're looking for games, or if anybody wants to join in. So currently there are no active games, but I could go to create a game here, and here are your options. So you can leave it only open to friends, and here you'll be able to select which friend you want to invite. Looks like you can, okay, I was gonna say, so at least one of the other slots has to be for a player. You can't just fill it all with AI, but if you want to, you can fill the rest of them with AI. So you could have this seat open, have a couple of AIs, or have 2 seats open, or whatever. And then you have the options for the AI difficulty, just like the other modes. You have these map choices again, and you have a timer choice, so live or async. So let's look at async here. Best for those who want to play a game over multiple days. Players have 3 days to complete a turn in an async game. If a player exceeds that time, they're removed from the game and replaced by an AI. So async means asynchronous, which basically means you don't have to be all in the same game at the same time. It's kind of like take your turn when you have time to do it. So you have 3 days to do a turn. So theoretically, you know, a turn could happen every 3 days. Your game could go on for like a couple of weeks, I guess. So it can be a nice thing if you're playing with friends who, you know, your schedules don't line up, but you still want to play a game together. So no, maybe you take your turn after work, and then your friend takes his turn, you know, when he wakes up after breakfast or whatever it is, and the game moves along at a pace that everyone, you know, is comfortable with, hopefully. Live, what's the deal there? Players have 3 minutes to complete a turn in a live game. And again, if they exceed that time, their turn is taken by an AI. If the AI takes a turn for a player 2 times in a row, or the player doesn't take their first move of the game, then they're permanently replaced by AI. So, you know, the timer options in games like this are always going to be... People are going to have different opinions about it. Some people are going to say 3 minutes, man, that's way too long. I don't want to sit there waiting for everybody to take 3 minutes on their turn. For other players, they're going to say, well, that's kind of not enough time. I want to, you know, have time to think about my moves. I don't want time pressure. So you're never going to make a time limit that everyone is going to be satisfied with. I'm curious to see if it stays at 3 minutes. That was the original timer in Dune Imperium, and eventually they changed it to half that, to 1.5 minutes. So anyway, currently it's 3 minutes. The other thing I'll say about async, if this works the same way as it does in Dune, if you're playing, let's say you're playing with friends and you don't want to have that timer pressure, like you want to be able to kind of chat and like whatever, not worry about somebody running out of time, you can play in an async game and basically just play it real time. If you're all there in the game, then it'll work just like a real game. It's just there won't be a timer. So if you're someone who thinks, man, I wish we had an option to just have no timer so I can play with my friends, just make it an async game and just all be there, and it should work that way for you. Okay, and again, you do have this option for peaceful mode, where you can disable these, sort of attack abilities. Okay, so that is the overview of Ark Nova Digital. Over here, you've got a play history, which is kind of interesting. So it gives you a bit of stats, which is cool. I actually didn't know this. This unfortunately does not exist in Dune Imperium. It's something people have asked for, but hasn't been implemented. So it's interesting that it is here in Ark Nova. So that's very fun. You get to take a look at your stats, and it's fun stuff to get to look at your game history. Looks like you can't click on it to see any more details than that, but it's still pretty cool. It's something that people have definitely asked for in other games. Like, it'd be cool in Dune, for example, to see your leader win rate, or how often you play each one or whatever. Friends list, Direwolf news, and settings. Auto camera, interesting. Hotkeys, okay, so you can rebind a bunch of stuff, which is always nice. Not something a lot of people are going to use, but for people who do like to rebind their keys, it's good that it's there. Okay, so that's it. I hope that was interesting for you. Let me know what you thought. Always like to hear your comments. Make sure you subscribe to the channel for more board game stuff, particularly Dune Imperium. And you can follow me on Twitch, twitch.tv/bludgeon. Thanks very much. See you next time. Bye-bye.